What's up, guys? My name is Gabriel Garcia, and I'm 22 years old, and I have an upcoming fight May 24th uh, this year. So make sure y'all tune in.
That's good. All right, and that's gonna be at the Alameda County Fairgrounds, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how long have you lived in Antioch?
I lived in Antioch for, I want to say, 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years.
Where'd you live before that?
Before Antioch, I lived in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I lived in Pittsburgh. Bay Point, Pittsburgh.
All right. Yeah. So you do have a job when you aren't boxing, right?
Yeah, I do landscaping and gardening and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In one of your fights, I heard Timothy Bradley talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was commentating one of your fights. So.
Oh yeah.
How did you get into boxing?
I really got into boxing because I was always getting into fights at school. You know, in the bathroom, would always go in the bathroom and always end up fighting. And then it was just one time I told my dad that I wanted to do boxing, and I knew my dad used to do a little bit of fighting, so I wanted him to kind of teach me how to fight. So I told him he could take me to the boxing gym, and my mom took me to the boxing gym. My dad didn't want me to box because he says it's a rough sport, it's a tough sport, and I kept telling my mom that I wanted to box. So then my mom was the first one who took me to the boxing gym at 13.
Oh.
At 13.
Were these fights at school just like over dumb stuff, or like you guys just had fun beating the crap out of each other?
No, we were just like knuckleheads, all buddies. There was times there would be times where we would get into real fights and stuff, but most of the times it would be body shots and stuff like that. You know, just playing around, just being kids.
So your dad he did a little bit of boxing, but were you like a fan of boxing before as a kid and stuff?
It's crazy because when I was growing up, my dad watched a lot of boxing. So every time, like, we would always have gather arounds to watch the fights, like the pay-per-view fights, like Julio Cesar Chavez, the Mayweather fights, and stuff like that. So we would always be watching boxing. So it was just something that I was always had my eye on, but never really got into it till my mom really took me to the boxing gym.
And what gym was that you took you to?
Where my first gym that I went to was CYC in Concord.
Oh, okay. Braulio also,
yeah.
He trained there too.
Yeah.
13's a little late. Did that like kind of get in the way of anything? Like, did they like tell you like, well, most kids start at like 6 or 7 or something? I mean, they start young. Sometimes.
Yeah, they start young. Yeah. No. It's crazy because I was always a fighter. Like since a little kid, I was always the one fighting. Like my cousins, I was always the one protecting my cousins. Like stuff like that. I was always the one who would want to fight. Stuff like that. Like it was different with me. Like I feel like I chose boxing because it was something that I could let my stress out on, and sparring be fun, and so the fights and stuff. So it's really crazy how a lot of people would tell me that fighting doesn't help you in the ring, boxing does. So as soon as I started learning boxing, that's when everything just started clicking together. Because boxing, you kind of want to have to fight because you're gonna be in the ring in there with a dude who's trying to take your head off, kind of in a way. So it's like, how can I explain it? It's just like something that keeps me going. Like I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to keep boxing and fighting. That's something I love to do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you think your dad's love? Well, you kind of said this. Your dad's love of boxing more so wasn't an influence, but actually kind of like a deterrent, right? He didn't want you to get into it.
Yeah. First, he didn't want me to get in. So it's crazy because I also give a lot of flowers to my dad because every time, since my first amateur fight, he told me like, all right, this is your first amateur fight, like you're doing something that I never got to really do. Like he was just like mostly sparring and stuff, doing the boxing, training. So he was like, so now you're really gonna do something. And then there would be times that I wouldn't want to go to the gym. There'd be times you have bad days, or you don't have a fight day coming up. You're like, man, do I really want to fight? So it's like my dad always tell me, keep your head on your shoulders, go run, don't think negative, go run, go to the gym. or stuff like that. He was always the one keeping me in the gym, making sure I was in the gym and not somewhere else.
And did he train you when you were amateurs?
Yeah, he trained me. It's crazy because me and my dad first started training at home, so he would always like try to like give me some mid work, but we would crash heads a lot. We would always argue like, no, I like this, and he'll like something else. So he'd be like, all right. That's why he kind of didn't want to take me to the boxing gym because we would always bump heads. So it would be like you're not a kid that wants to learn, but it's different when you're in there with your father, and then when you're at a gym. So I feel like both roles just clicked. Both roles just had to click in.
Let's see. But speaking of your dad and your family, where's your family originally from? Sinaloa?
No, they're from Zacatecas.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Zacatecas. Yeah, my mom's from Zacatecas and my dad's from Zacatecas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Sinaloa because that's where you started first fights, right?
Yeah, a couple of my fights. Yeah. No, they're not from Sinaloa. It was just we had a good manager over there. His name's Shalai. Shout out Shalai. He's he's the one who kept me busy in Sinaloa. He's from Sinaloa. Yeah, but I'm from Zacatecas.
Okay.
Yeah, they're from Zacatecas.
Which actually in your fight against Joshua Montoya, on the little card there, it said you were from Mexico and he was from USA. Now both of you are Mexican Americans, right?
Yeah.
But is there a reason behind that you just want to like represent Mexico or?
Well, it's because I have both. It's crazy. I have both.
Dual citizenship?
I have both the citizenships. But since I'm the first one here from my both immigrant parents, so it's kind of like I want to represent where they come from, and I've been to Mexico and stuff, so it's just like seeing everything over there, how stuff is over there, where you could just change your life around over here, and how some people over there are still brainwashed of how. How stuff is really over here, and how we really got to work a job and stuff,
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, this is something I really want to do.
Right, yeah. No, I feel that, and, because I'm also Mexican American and stuff. My parents are also immigrants.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, we also want to
represent. It's
represent
just like a proud represent,
Not to forget who we are and stuff like
exactly.
that, yeah. All right, and so you started boxing at age 13, but what age was your first amateur fight?
My first amateur fight was at, I want to say 16, because it's crazy because I gained a lot of weight. It was when I first went to CYC, it was from 13 to 14, and then I went for a whole year, and then after that year I got fat. My mom didn't want to take me no more because CYC's in Concord and we lived in Pittsburgh. No, we lived in Bay Point, and then that's when we moved to Pittsburgh, so it was a little farther. So she kind of didn't want to take me to the gym no more. So then we had to find a different gym. But I didn't really want to go to a different gym. So it was kind of, I didn't want to do it for a bit. So it's crazy how you could go from being big. Because I ended up weighing 180 at one point at 14 years old. Or 15 years old.
Wow.
I was 180. Yeah. So it's crazy. My first amateur fight was at 16. That's when I dropped down to 140. I fought at a heavyweight, but I like to fight, so I was like, I don't even care about the weight class. I fought a bigger dude and everything, but I wasn't worried about it. But then once I started remembering that, you got to be on a diet and all this other stuff, I had to lock in and make a weight class. And then I ended up making the 132 division. So that was a good division, but I still had a lot of fat on me, so I'm bumping down to 126. Yeah, I bumped down to 126, a featherweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you're fighting at now, 126.
Yeah, 126.
Let's see. So did your dad train you throughout your amateur career, or did you have another trainer as well?
Yeah, no. My dad trained me, and I also had another trainer down in Antioch, named Daniel Castillo. He took me to all my tournaments, So it was like my dad kind of trained me. He was he was the assistant trainer, and take me to the nationals and take me to these tournaments because he had another team, always going to these tournaments. So it was just always good to be around another boxing gym,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hold on. So what age did you turn pro?
I turned pro at 18. 18 and a half. Yeah, 18 and a half.
So only 5 years of amateur. Well, you started at 16 was your first amateur fight, so 2 years of amateur.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, I only went 16 wins and like 4 losses. No, I'm lying. I only went 14 wins and 4 losses, I believe. I only had like 17 fights, 16 fights.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because a lot of people do a lot of amateurs.
Yeah,
first.
a lot of people have a lot of amateur fights, but it's crazy because I'll get in these sparrings with these 50 plus amateur skill dudes, and it would be a different ball game when I would be in there with them. So I'd be like, you know what, I don't need these amateur fights. That's just a waste of time. Let me jump into the real ball game, and that's when we decided to go pro.
So that was your ultimate. That's what pushed your ultimate.
Yeah, that's what.
Turn
Yeah,
pro?
exactly. So once I started sparring all these kids that had 50 plus amateur fights, and I'm like, man, I'm doing this to them, and I'm not getting the decisions at the fights. And let's just go. You know, like I don't want to do amateur the rest of my career, the rest of my life. I mean, so let's just go take the next step. And yeah, my dad pushed me to it, so we got it done.
Okay. Yeah. How long have you been training at Lions Den Gym?
Well, I've been training there for. When did we get into the gym? I think we've been there for like 3 years now. Since when they first opened the gym back in Pittsburgh, we went, but we weren't fully there because we live in Antioch. So you know the gym in Antioch is a little closer. But after shout out Cordell. Before boxing, we knew Cordell and the owners before boxing. Like we knew each other before boxing, so it was kind of like shout out to them. Gave us a big opportunity to come let my dad train other kids at his gym. So shout out Cordell helping the community, the youth, wanting more people to learn boxing and stuff. And that's when he opened the doors over there to us about like 4 years ago. But he always opened the doors up. But it just we didn't really start rolling the ball till he opened up the gym for real. So.
How did you know Cordell before?
It's crazy. Me and Big Cordell, Little Cordell, Amari, Cordell, Little Cordell, and me and Elijah, we all used to box together. Before boxing, we knew each other from high school. Like we would see each other at these football games. We knew each other from Instagram, social media, and stuff. And then when we seen each other at the boxing gym, like it was just like a clique. Like we would spar each other, we would train together, we would run together and stuff. And it was just that day that we just decided to let the ball roll. And then here we are now.
And what gym was it that you trained at in Antioch?
I used to train at Double Trouble. That's where we would go. Yeah, Double Trouble.
Okay. I think I've heard of Double Trouble, yeah.
Yeah, on A Street.
Yeah.
A Street.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy who was trying to promote a fight here or something, and then COVID hit. And that's what...
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I was going to do that one at the Grapevine, right?
Yeah.
The Grapevine one.
Yeah,
like
that's the guy
Pittsburgh
who was setting it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, he was telling me about that just a week ago or something.
Yeah.
So your first 8 fights were in Sinaloa, Mexico. What was your decision to fight in Mexico first? Why down there first?
Well, it was mostly because the age, like over here they don't really let you go pro till you really have like 21 or older. You have people turning pro over here. So since I didn't want to keep going amateur, it was either like I go pro, or do I just want to do amateur, or do I just hop off the boxing, So it was like I told my dad, and then he was like, well, the best easiest way we could get you to turn pros in Mexico. That's where a lot of people go and could turn pro and fight grown men, like fight actual, like, because over here sometimes the commissions won't allow certain age differences. So that's another big thing about boxing too that I didn't know. So yeah, really my dad and we had another fighter fighting down in Mexico. So he opened up the doors for us the opportunity to go turn pro over there where he was gonna fight. So we hopped on it.
Was that when you decided to fight in Mexico, was that before or after you had found your promoter?
No, I actually found that promoter because of because of shout out Chema, that's his name. Jose Maria Delgado, that's his name. But shout out Chema, they call him Chema. He's the one who turned me pro and helped me get my first 8 fights, I believe. Yeah, my first 8 fights. He helped me get. Yeah, so shout out Chema. Shout out him and JD Promotions.
What was it like to fight your first pro fight compared to like how you fight your amateurs?
You know, it's crazy because I'm still learning on the job. I feel like I'm just getting better as a fighter, better as a boxer. Like I feel like I could brawl, I could box, I could move. So it's like it's better now because now I could go more rounds. In the amateurs, it was just three rounds, 3 minutes. No, I'm lying. I think it was 2 minutes, 2 minute rounds when I was fighting. So it was like a lot of kids were more faster than me. You know, a lot of kids were more slicker than me. So I just never had that advantage to really let them see what I could do. So once like I started doing more sparrings and started sparring pros and started seeing what I could do with pros and these former world champions and stuff. Former world champions telling me stay in the gym, you know, like always I was young. Me and my dad will bump heads that whole day and then end up seeing someone, hey, keep that kid in the gym. Like make sure he stays in the gym, not always stay with me. Me and my dad would get home and he would be like, son, like te quiero mucho, like no se te olvide, like this boxing like ain't gonna break our father and son duo. So, you know, it was just shout out my dad always getting that hump out the way. Every time we had a bad day in sparring or a bad day that my body didn't respond or something, you know, instead of after all that he'll tell me that he loves me and stuff, and it's more than boxing.
Yeah, leave that stuff at the
yeah,
gym.
leave that stuff at the gym. Yeah.
Who are these big names that would tell you to like keep training?
It was like so first when I was an amateur, we went to go spar Ruben Villa, and he won in the amateurs a lot of like world former champions like Shakur and them, and we had this sparring session, and they, you know, after that sparring session, it was a great sparring session. They told me like, man, like you're young, you only had I believe I only had 4 pro fights. Oh no, I had 4 fights already, but they were telling me, you know, like stay in the gym. Like these fights might come slow, but if you stay in the gym, everything's gonna start coming into peace. I had Ruben Villa telling me that he's somewhat type of world champion, intern champion, and James Page would always tell me. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but and then I did a camp at Roberts gym. So being down there and sparring with those people down there with that type of high caliber, and me going the rounds they wanted me to, like doing the stuff they were telling me to do, and then like a lot of people like Don G. Do you know Don G?
No.
No. Don G is like the dad of Mikey Garcia, Robert Garcia,
yeah,
Don G, yeah, him. Every time I would spar, he would always tell me like, "Hey, te la rifaste, morro, like sígate en el gimnasio, no, aunque no tengas fecha." Because I remember that day I didn't have a fight day yet, and I was in camp, and he told me like, "Hey, even if you don't have a fight day and you're still in here, that's dope. Like, and you look like this, like that's good. Like, stay in the gym, stay in the gym. Like, I see talent." And then just hearing that from them and stuff, it would just always give me that extra pat, like, stay in the gym. And then those days I don't want to wake up for a run, go for a run. Those days I don't want to go to the gym, go to the gym. And then, you know, shout out my dad too, that extra push he gives me. So it's like everything just keeps the ball rolling.
Yeah, maybe they know about Roberto Duran and stuff. You know, he got fat.
Yeah,
had to drop all that weight, and then he ended up doing the no mask thing. So
yeah.
But we could talk about that all day. Anyway, but you mentioned you met James Page. Did you meet James Page before you trained with Robert Garcia?
Yeah, I did. I did meet him before I met Robert Garcia. I actually met him at the Lions Den. At the Lions Den, I met him. And when he seen me spar, he told me like, "Oh, like this boy's strong. Like he reminds me of the Julio Cesar Chavez." So hearing that, it just gives me like an extra like damn like, and then hearing stories from him when he would actually be around those people and like he was in that caliber. Hearing that from him is just like damn like am I really? And it's funny how we say this because somebody just sent me a picture of Julio Cesar Chavez telling me that I look just like him. And look, I'll show you. I'll show you. Just
Nah, I know what I was gonna say
funny.
your
It's hella
style.
funny.
We'll get to that in a minute, but your
Okay,
style
okay.
and stuff really
Yeah.
reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez. And then I saw that video, and he's like, "Yeah, he reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez." I was like,
Yeah.
"Damn!" So it's not just me.
That's hecka
Yeah.
funny, bro. Because look, I'll really show you right now.
Yeah, especially with the short hair and
blends,
everything.
Yeah, shout out hands with the blend. Why you look?
Yeah.
I sort of
that's
put
a
a little bit of fruit.
yeah.
Shout out Ed's blend.
That's one of my. I love Julio Cesar
Yeah.
Chavez.
Yes.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm trying to kind of start off.
Okay,
And
yeah,
we'll go
sorry,
to the
yeah,
teaser.
my
No.
bad.
I'm just saying, like, I don't want to forget that, but
Yeah.
no, we'll get to that. We're almost there. So your first fight here in the United States was actually a Showtime fight, right?
Yeah.
The undercard for Sebastian Fundora versus Brian Mendoza.
Yeah. Bro, that fight was so badass, bro. I was so glad I was on that undercard. Even if I was just, it's just crazy how the fight really turned out like that. Like one punch changes the whole fight. That whole experience was just wonderful.
How did you even get on that fight? Like on that undercard?
It's shout out who was it? JD, yeah, JD Promotions. It was Chema and them. They know this guy named former champion Amner Matis. You know Amner Matis?
Oh, I think yeah.
Amner Matis. Amner Matis, he was a really good friends with Chalai. Shout out Chalai, that's JD Promotions. He's the one who got me on that card. Him and Chema. Yeah, him and Chema are the ones who got me on that card. So it was just, they were just talking good about me and they let me showcase my talent.
And was it difficult to go from like small Mexican venues? Because I saw some of those. They're like pretty small, like little arenas.
Yeah.
And then you got this big televised arena outdoors and everything for the Sebastian Fundora fight. I mean, was that like kind of overwhelming a little bit, or?
It kind of was, but it wasn't because it's like, I think of it like this, like every time I go into the gym, every time I walk into the ring, like I just lock in. But when I'm doing the ring walk and everything, it was a different type of the ring walk. It was a different crowd. It was a different experience. But it was dope. I enjoyed every second of it. I felt like kind of like if I was in a movie in a way. So that just having that experience and adrenaline rush and stuff, it was just like damn, like I love this. I would love to keep doing this and make this a living.
I mean, it's a great debut, and I think that was only your 9th fight, I think was.
Yeah, I think it was my 8th or 9th one. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
But it was my 8th or 9th one. Yeah, it was my 8th or 9th.
And that's a great way to start out. And undercard of one of the biggest fights that year and stuff. Biggest upset.
Upset because we fought a kid from LA from down there. Well, he's from Florida, but he was training at LA at Adam Lopez gym with what's his name? Buddy Bagert.
Uh-huh.
Buddy Bagert. It was his fighter. But how was it? Well, yeah, it was an upset. It was a good upset. It was a good start to my
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean upset for you in your fight. You probably won. I mean, you obviously won that and stuff. I mean, you're a great fighter and everything. I didn't mean upset like that. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I meant the. Everybody thought Sebastian Fundora was gonna beat Mendoza, and the Mendoza.
But for my fight, I went in as a B-side. The dude I was fighting was an actual good fighter. Like he was actually Marcos Diaz. Shout out Marcos Diaz. He gave me a good fight. He gave me a good fight.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from that fight actually. From that fight, I really did. So shout out Marco Diaz too.
I didn't mean to catch you out like that. I meant
you're good, bro. It's all good.
I meant the Fundora thing. Everybody was like, "No, Fundora's gonna be Mendoza." And
exactly.
Somehow, so.
That one hitter punch quitter, huh?
Yeah.
Changes the whole fight.
And that's how it is. So let's see. So was Robert Garcia your trainer for that one?
He was actually my trainer for the top rank fight. The top rank
fight. Though against Montoya.
Against the Montoya fight. That's the one he was my trainer for. That was another dope experience. I think that fight was the first boxing event they had there in Tahoe. It was in Lake Tahoe. I can't remember the spot, but it was nice. It was a nice event. It was beautiful, and that was a nice experience too.
Uh, I'm sorry. He was in your corner for Montoya. So how did you get into his training camp?
Well, all because of the Robert and all that stuff is because of my former manager Chalai, was because of him, because he was always keeping me pushing. He had a lot of good connects and opportunities and stuff. So him putting my name in there, and they were like, yeah, they accepted me, let me come in and had a showcase a little bit, and we got the job done that night. So, but really, how can I say? It would really just be because of Chalai.
Mm.
Chalai, he told him that they got me this fight, and if I can make my camp, and they're like, yeah, if he got what it takes, yeah, send him over here, and they sent me. And
I mean, because that was, I didn't know anything really prior to looking you up on everything when I first saw this fight and everything.
Yeah.
I kind of just did my research. I was like, oh, these guys are from Antioch. Why
Yeah.
not do a story about them? But I didn't see that fight until after I was like sure that we could do the story, and I started reaching out to you and the promoter and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just surprised to see Robert Garcia, because Robert Garcia is, I think, right now probably the best boxing trainer out there.
He's got a couple trainer of the year
Yeah.
awards and stuff. Yeah, he's a hell of a trainer. Shout out Robert. He's a hell of a trainer for
And
sure.
he doesn't pick nobodies.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So for
yeah.
you to be there and him in your corner, I was like, dude, this kid's gotta be
Yeah.
something amazing.
No, yeah, and hearing stuff from Robert too, like he'll train me, give me mid work and stuff, and he'll tell me like, if you start doing this a little bit more, you do this and this a little bit better. So I'll just be like, damn, like, all right, you season me up a little bit more. And then hearing his dad tell me like, hey, that sparring, beautiful, like keep working, like keep training, you look strong. And then every time it would always just be a good vibe. Every time I would walk into the gym, always a happy dude. Always very he would always greet me good. Always say how am I doing, how do I feel and stuff. So just getting that type of experience and talks, it's just all wonderful. Like it's dope. It's pushing.
Although if Robert Garcia sees this, I have a bone to pick with him because he trained the boxer that upset against Isak Cruz, who I love.
Yeah,
Isak
my
Cruz.
boy
No,
Ryan.
I'm just messing with. No, I don't want to mess with Robert Garcia, man. I love Robert Garcia. I think he's
shout out
great.
Robert. Yeah.
When you train, you got to spar with Mikey Garcia though too, right? I think
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
mentioned
got
that in one of the videos.
Yeah, I got to spar with Mikey Garcia. He gave me sparring for I think a whole good 2 weeks or a week or two. We did we had 2 sparring sessions 1 week, and then he came back another week, and then we had another 2, I believe. So learning from them, getting in the ring with that type of caliber and that type of experience, and it was just makes me want to keep learning and learning more, because literally every time I spar like a world champion or a former champion or someone that caliber, I always learn something new. So it just makes me happy. Like I'm really learning, and I'm really just having to fight, just box. So yeah, it's a dope experience for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So was there a reason why you changed from Robert Garcia to James Page? Was it just because he was just with you that one fight, or?
Well, James Page, I got introduced to James Page because of Cordell, because of the Lions Den and stuff. So we had got that opportunity to go to get that fight on Top Rank, but my manager, my former manager, Chalai and Chema, they wanted me to go to Roberts, that Top Rank fight, but stuff couldn't get situated, so we were just like, we'll just stay here and do the fight with Paige. So we took that fight with Paige, and we liked his work. But it's just not the same class we have. It's not the same. Me and Paige were kind of not bumping heads, but it was just like um, he wanted me to do this, but it was just a different style of what we wanted, what we were looking for.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and sometimes I know some fighters kind of have issues with that where uh, they kind of want to stick to their one style
yeah,
because that's I mean that's what gets them the wins and stuff.
yeah,
And you know if
exactly.
you kind of mess with that, you start
Yeah.
getting a little frustrated.
So it was just, how do I say, after seeing like the experience over there at Roberts, I'm like, yeah, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep doing like stuff like this. So I feel like that was a whole switch around, turn around, and it's just like every camp you do, it's like you just building credit. You just keep learning and getting ready and stacking that up for your next fight. So every time I've went, I've learned a lot, and I keep learning, and I try to learn every day. I don't always try to be airheaded and be up in the gym and think I know everything, because I don't. So there's always someone that knows more, and I'm always
Yeah.
always wanting to learn, and that thankfully all these opportunities that always happen to me, everything's just been like ring to your fingers, just right on the money. So it's just like, man, the God is good. I'm a big guy in God, Diosito, la Virgencita and stuff. So I'm just like, man, is this really what it is? Is this what it is? And it is what it is. Now let me just keep doing this. So here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah, and we got a new pope. The Latin Americans took over the Vatican.
Exactly.
Finally, yeah.
Exactly. Finally, yeah.
But anyway, what was it that Robert Garcia taught you that was different from James Page? What is it that James Page taught you that is sticking with you that maybe Robert Garcia didn't teach you?
A lot of things, that I see that from two different trainers was that one, they both have similar styles, but it's just like a different type of training. It's like the work ethic isn't there. Like over there at Roberts, you train like they train like dogs. Like they get up, spar, train, strength and conditioning, all this other stuff. So it's like it's the how do I say, it's like the proper preparation for a fight. So that's the big difference between Roberts and James Page. James Page is just James Page. It's just one dude. Your former champion just teaching me, but over there at Roberts, it's just not Robert. They also have three other trainers that don't get mentioned a lot. But shout out Pita, Chepe, and Felipe. Them, they were teaching me a lot over there too. So being over there, and then they have a strength and conditioning coach named Dr. Charles. Shout out Dr. Charles. Taught me a lot of exercises and stuff. Stretching. Stretching is very important, and just kept learning stuff inside of the ring and outside of the ring. So it's just beautiful. It's just all beautiful to me.
Um, with Robert Garcia, how long did you train in his camp?
I want to say I went to his camps. I went up there for 3 camps, but I only did one fight with him. One, a couple of my fights got postponed due to my opponents getting injured or opponent falling out. But I was always in camps. That's when they had a camp house. I was staying in the camp house. But now they have the gym at the mall, so they don't have a camp house no more. That's really like kind of a reason why I kind of don't go over there, in a way, because they don't have a camp house. And when I was over there, I was at the camp house. So that's what. Oh, and then being at the camp house, when I was over there doing my camp, I was at the camp house, and just being there where all these world champions are coming out from, like Bam Rodriguez and all these other pro fighters, Rayo. I was over there with a lot of good, great fighters, and just being with these type of people, and just like, damn, like, this is beautiful. Like, I wish I could do camps like these more often. It's just really like the preparation and the work ethic, like, that's different. It's like a different environment in a way. Like over there, it's just people with that same mindset and work ethic as you. So they help you get better in a way.
Yeah.
It's like that extra push. But then it's like, but over here it's from scratch. Like, this is where you start from. But if you start, this is where you started from, but look where it could take you. So it's like, you just gotta keep keep the ball rolling. Just keep the ball rolling.
Was that training camp at Oxnard or?
It was in Riverside by
Okay.
yeah, in Riverside by Moreno Valley. Moreno Valley. Yeah,
Uh,
Moreno Valley.
no, because I know they have like camps in Oxnard
Yeah, Oxnard. Yeah,
and
they
what's
got
the
a
other
couple
one?
gyms now, huh?
Yeah,
Oxnard, and I think they have another
because
gym
a
in
lot of people came
Texas.
from there. Yeah,
Yeah, they got because a lot of fighters coming down from Texas.
yeah. Big Bear, I think. Yeah, Big Bear was one of the other
Oh
ones I
yeah,
think I've
yeah.
heard of. Yeah. All right, and those promoters you mentioned before who got you the fight on Showtime, they also got you the top rank one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was all from the same promoter. Yeah.
Okay. So your fight against Montoya was televised on ESPN Plus. You had Timothy Bradley commenting on your fight. I mean, how did that feel?
Oh, it felt very good actually, cause at first I know Timothy Bradley. If he doesn't talk, he won't talk good about you if you don't do good. So at first it was like, man, I better not have an off night this night, cause Timothy Bradley is gonna be broadcasting.
He'll let you know.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
let me know. So the whole time I was just I kind of was thinking about it like, all right, just can't have an off night. Just gotta whoop this boy's butt. Just gotta belt to ass. Just real quick. And how was it that right away I felt in between the rounds. It's funny because he say this because in between the rounds when I would get hit, I'll be like, I know they said something about that. So as soon as I started feeling like that I was too stiff, I was like, all right, let me start getting loose. Let me start getting loose. So it's funny that I watched the fight too, and I heard him talking, and I actually like enjoyed all the stuff he said, that the album, the fighter and stuff. He said a lot of good stuff about me. So shout out Timothy Bradley, shout out him for real, cause he talks. He don't talk, if you don't show out, he won't talk good about you.
Mm.
So shout out him, shout out Timothy Bradley, talking good about me.
You can put your keys and phone over there. If they keep falling out, but if it's okay, no worries. Son, I don't want you to break your phone or anything. Just hit pop
No,
out
yes.
or anything. So here's where I'm going to talk about Julio Cesar Chavez and the comparisons with you and stuff. It's just that every time that there's like an up and coming boxer from Mexico and stuff, it's like, oh man, he's like Julio Cesar Chavez or Salvador Sanchez are usually the ones that people compare them to and stuff. But in your fight against Montoya, in round 4, you started doing this like weird stance. I don't know if you realize this, but you started opening up more because Robert Garcia told you got to start cutting off the ring against Montoya.
Cutting off the ring, yeah.
And then you started doing like this open stance, and I went, I've only seen that before in Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm just, everybody thinks that and stuff. But then in round 5, you lunged at him Montoya was back against the corner, and you lunged at him, I think maybe with like a left hook. And it looked exactly like Julio Cesar Chavez's
like
lunge against Mayweather.
Yeah, his little setup lunges
Yeah.
to try to. Yeah.
But he did that huge lunge against Mayweather, and I was like, that's Julio Cesar Chavez. Unfortunately, you didn't get him, but I think you would have knocked him out with that lunge.
If I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video, and James Page also said that. He's like, it reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez in the same video. And is Julio Cesar Chavez one of your inspirations?
Yeah, it's crazy you tell me this, bro, because Julio Cesar Chavez was always my favorite fighter from scratch. From growing up, my dad would always tell me like, Chavez fue el mejor, the best. But he had his fall off. But before everything, what happened with him, he was always my favorite fighter. Shout out Julio Cesar Chavez. All his fights, my dad would always talk about Julio Cesar Chavez. All his fights that I got to watch were Chavez. They were all, I was little, I was a kid, so me just seeing that growing up, I could just imagine why I do all this stuff. Like you said, I do this and I got doing that. Now I'm like, it's crazy because I was really growing up watching it. And then now that I'm doing it, it's like, damn, it's crazy. And then people say that I look like him, and it just gives me an extra bump. Like, damn, I'm probably the next Julio Cesar Chavez. But, shout out him. Shout out Julio Cesar Chavez. Hopefully one day, we could really click up, and hopefully he could see me fight and tell me what he thinks about what I could do with boxing.
Well, he commentates for Box Azteca. Was he commentating for Top Rank or any of those fights that you were in, the Showtime one?
Nah, he
No.
didn't. He wasn't. But it's crazy because my old manager, promoter, he's a real good buddies with him. But I just never got the chance to squeeze in with him. But hopefully soon I'll get to meet him.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah,
I think
it'll
you're gonna be
happen,
on a fight that he'll be commentating, and hopefully you meet him there. Yeah, that'd be incredible. I mean, because you guys just have like the same styles and stuff. That's the biggest thing. It's just I was like, there's no way. It's just me imagining stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, he fights like Julio Cesar Chavez. Do you find yourself kind of mimicking some of his stuff?
Actually,
A
bro,
little bit,
I
'cause it's just in the back of
I
your
do
head?
because I feel like I've watched so much clips. Like I really have that Roger hook that he got. You know, I have a lot of stuff. It's just memorized in my head. His little jabs, that two he got, the body shot. It's just stuff that's always in my head and just like reactions that I always just have. Little twitches. It's just little twitches now to me. So what just gets me happy is that like people like you, like we're like I'm glad that people like you always give me your your thoughts. So I'm blessed. I'm glad I actually came here and got this because it's just gonna make me more. Now you really better go run an extra 2 miles on top. So shout out
thank you
bro.
for joining us. I mean,
Shout out you, bro.
And also you have that like left uppercut that's a little bit sneaky.
Yeah,
I noticed that again. Montoya, and then in that fight, I think it was in Oakland or no, it was that Mexican fight you had. You had this like left uppercut, and they just didn't see it coming.
Yeah,
I think that's what got you the knockout.
It's crazy because my dad always tells me that my left hand's always like it could be my knockout hand, but it's just in like how you say it. It's just punches that are like from Chavez that I always just remember, end up just throwing it and it works. So I'm just like, man. I'm glad everything is really coming into peace from having these losses in the amateurs, from all this other stuff. You could really keep climbing the rank and learn. Just keep learning. Don't let a bad day get to you. Don't let a day that you don't go run think you about to have a bad day and you're sparring or something. No, just show up. Just show up. That's really the only thing. Show up.
I mean, that's the winning attitude is that you just have to keep going. You don't give up and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're a brawler that cuts off the ring. You apply pressure. That's obvious in all the fights that I've seen you in.
Yeah.
You have 6 knockouts to your name in only 11 fights. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of power behind those punches. But being a brawler also sort of leaves you a little bit open.
Yeah, it does,
you do get punched and stuff. You do kind of take hits. I mean, you take them well.
Yeah.
But are you ever afraid that you might face somebody who has equal power to you, or maybe even more power or something? And does that kind of stick in your head? Like I can't take this. Montoya, he doesn't punch hard, but if this was somebody else,
puncher. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy how you tell me this because it's like I was saying, I'm learning on the job, so it's crazy because like now I'm more cautious of what I throw, but I'm still throwing it. I'll expect what you're gonna come with or something. I'm always on 1 point ahead. So me coming forward actually gives me advantages sometimes because I have a tank. I have a good gas tank of just wind. So I feel like that's my biggest thing. And then now that I'm learning how to get loose in the ring and really be slick and have fun in there, it's just making it better for me in a way. I just have to be good on fight night, just to show out. But it's like you said, I'm starting to see those gaps, those little punches I shouldn't take. Like how you said, I take them to the chin. It's part of the game. I'll take a punch to land one, but it's like you said, imagine now I got to think higher and imagine a real puncher, like someone that all his fights knockouts or something, someone that could crack. So it's funny how you said that. Like it's crazy because now I'm really actually being more a little cautious. So
I hope I don't mess you up or anything. Where you're like, you said that.
No, you're good, bro. Nah, thank you, bro.
No, I mean you do take the punch as well. It's just I don't know. I just noticed that, especially Montoya. He wasn't. He obviously he didn't have a lot of power behind his punches. He was more like a classic boxer. So his punching, moving and stuff. He was trying to get points and stuff. Yeah. It wasn't a knockout for him. For a win for him. But I just noticed, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that you would adjust if you fought somebody with some
Yeah.
power and stuff, because obviously brawlers are more slower and stuff. They
Yeah,
chase around and
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I did notice in one of the videos of you at the Lions Den, you were kind of working on more defense and being a little slicker. Is that something that they're kind of like focusing on now, or you're applying to your fights or anything?
It's something I'm applying to it now because it's sometimes the more rounds, it's like the more fights I'm gonna have, the more rounds you go. So it's like you don't always have to just throw random punches. You have the ring. You're gonna end up fighting 12 rounds sooner or later. So you have to learn like the actual fundamentals of boxing. So it's just like we throw a lot of fundamentals in there now. It used to just be a lot of just throwing punches. But it's like we're learning on the job, and now it's like what, let's take care of ourselves and let's add these fundamentals in. So yeah, so just being back home, always teaches me the fundamentals. Being at the Lions Den teaches me a lot of fundamentals. Remember that. Hey, you gotta remember, keep your hands up and don't try not to get hit. Take the less punishment you can. So shout out Dale and them too, because they always be on me about keeping my hands up and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed in that what they were doing was like that kind of like I think it was to get you to like kind of dodge their things or whatever, bob and weave,
Yeah.
and then use that left uppercut. And yeah, I mean, I could see it being devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
towards another fighter. Yeah. So your upcoming fight is on May 24th at the Alameda Fairgrounds. That's your first main event fight, right?
Yeah, my first main event. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this one.
I mean, how is that like? How does that feel different from your other fights? I mean, you're the main event.
Well, it's really just like I kind of just trying to treat it like another day in the office, but it's like damn, like I'm really gonna be the last fight, so I'm gonna have to really go and put on the show that night. So that's really all it is. It's just that little chip on the shoulder that I'm gonna have that night. But as soon as I show off, the chip is gone. So as soon as I'm in the ring, actually, that chip on the shoulder is gone. Like I start feeling good. I start. This is what I do. This is what This is what I train so hard for, and all the time and sacrifices and stuff I had to put in to get here for this fight. So, it all plays.
Yeah, I mean, one of the worst things that this won't be televised. I think it has the potential to be a very entertaining fight. 'Cause, I mean, the guys who I've spoken to, Braulio, I mean, that guy just, you don't know what you're gonna expect. He's sometimes he's a brawler, sometimes he's a boxer. He just applies different things. And then Kumar is an explosive kid.
Yeah.
For heavy kid and stuff at his light heavyweight and stuff. So that's gonna be huge. And then you obviously brawling and cutting off the ring. It's gonna be a lot of fun watching that.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, unfortunately, not everybody's gonna be able to see that, but I think it's gonna be a huge fight. I think
right on,
boxing fans are gonna be very, very happy with that.
Yeah, no, yeah. People who go won't leave. Yeah, they won't leave mad for sure.
So you're a father. You had your daughter. Yeah, it was a daughter, right?
I had a daughter. Yeah.
Daughter. At 17, you had her, right?
I think I turned. I was 16. I was 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was 16 when I had her. I think I found out. Oh no, yeah, 17. You're right. I found out at 16.
Well, I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I just saw one of the videos.
I became a father at 17. I found out at 16 and a half when I was.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, you're right.
Has having a family impacted your fighting? Like, do you find yourself being a little more cautious with, having a daughter in the back of your head or anything? Or do you just focus purely on fighting and you're like, maybe it drives you even more? Some people it drives them more.
It drives me more, It's crazy because right now I'm tunnel vision in boxing. Like, I really want to see where it could take me. I really want to, end up going to Japan or something to go fight these Japanese dudes, these bad dudes, So hopefully, like, all these good fights end up coming up sooner or later, and hopefully I'm gonna be able to really just provide for my family, because that's really what I'm locked in for. Hopefully a good promoter, a good manager comes out and gets me clicked on and go fight all these, go to Japan, go to all these, Australia, wherever. It doesn't have to even just be in here. We go worldwide. So that's really what I'm doing it for. I really want to make it to So I want to be the next monster Inoue. I want to fight Inoue, stuff like that. I want to share the ring with them. So just having a family impact me to just go get it done, go do it. You're young, go do this right now. And it's like a lot of people say, like Muhammad Ali, suffer now, live like the rest of your life as a champion, stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what, my daughter's young. I'm gonna try and enjoy her the most I can, but I'm always just I'm gonna have to be the one providing for my daughter and my girlfriend. So I'm the one who really I want to be the man in the house. I want to buy the house. I want to have all this so I could maintain for them. So hopefully everything's just gonna start falling into place sooner or later.
I know the camera can't see this, but I have the biggest grin on my face because you said Japan. You want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those guys are afraid of a Mexican going to Japan.
Yeah, though.
Because I see a lot of things where I'm like, they call him the monster, and I'm like, wow, he hasn't fought a Mexican, really. And then, yeah, I mean, he did. Just recently.
Yeah.
And he got knocked down.
Yeah.
If it would have been somebody who was just a little bit more on the edge, I don't think Inoue would have asked him.
No, exactly.
I mean, yeah. So, going to Australia and going to Japan. I mean, if you would have said England too,
England,
I would have just started laughing my ass off here because those guys are afraid of Mexican fighters. I know that anybody of them goes over there, they're in danger. How often do you train when you don't have a fight set?
Well, no, I really train worldwide. I mean, all around, all year wide, I'm training. Even if I'm not in the boxing gym, I'm always running in the hills. I do a lot of, I like to be outside a lot. Me and my girlfriend, my daughter, we go out to hikes. When we go on a hike, I hit my sprints. I do my shadow boxing. I do a lot of exercise. As soon as I'm off work, if I'm too fatigued to put the gloves on or my finger's injured or something, I'll still go to the gym, shadow box, get the rhythm down, work on basic fundamentals now. So I'm really in the gym. I want to say like Monday through Friday, really. Monday through Friday, I'm always in the gym. But if I'm not in the gym, I'm always running or something or working. So.
And how intense does that get once you do have a set fight, like the upcoming one on May 24th? Like how do you?
Like now, it's crazy because like today, I trained at 5 a.m. We woke up at 4 in la madrugada, and we went to the gym 4:30. Started training by like 4:55, and then we got done by 7. Went to work. Started by 8. And then got off a little earlier. We beat a little bit of traffic because we madrugamos a little bit, so we beat traffic, and then here we are. So
I really appreciate that you took the time to do that.
Right on, bro. Appreciate you. And so it's stuff like that. If I don't train in the morning, we do train a lot in the when we have these upcoming fights. We have to do a double days, triple days because that's when the weight has to start coming off. So it's like, all right. Now if you're not gonna at least do boxing, come do strength and conditioning, come do something, come run or something, So now that I got boxing out the way, I have this time, and then after this I'll go get my miles in, and then have the rest of the time with my daughter. And it's crazy because my daughter is another plus because she likes to go walk. So sometimes she wants to go to Contra Loma, go walk. Sometimes she'll want to get on her bike. We have a trampoline. We be on the trampoline, So it's fun. It's dope. It's a dope experience having a daughter at a young age and just watching my daughter grow up and seeing her just like, damn, we really planted you. It's crazy. Having a baby, it's a whole different experience, a whole different mindset. It's a game changer for sure, but it's a good one. It's like they say, Diosito te lo mandó por una cosa. Yeah. So I'm blessed.
Speaking of your family, do you find it a little bit hard, between work, family, training? Does it hard to keep all that time, together?
At first, it really was, but shout out my girl, I really just want to say wife to her because hopefully we do end up getting married, but shout out her. She's a big supporter. Like she's always the, how do I say, like she's always the one. Like sometimes if I don't wake up, like on my alarm, she'll wake me up. Go boom boom, babe, wake up. You gotta go run. Are you right? Come on, let's go. I'll go run. So shout out her. She she pushes me a lot. She understands all the sacrifices I have to make to be someone in the sport. And me and her, or we know each other like a book. Back and forth. We know each other real well, and I'm just blessed to have a girlfriend like her. Really, to push me and her loyalty and all this other stuff. So it's just shout out her. She's a plus. She's a plus plus.
Is the reason you not currently married yet is just because like you have like you want to be like more stable or something?
It's crazy because now that the time is going, it's like, dang, I'm not even really. I'm so focused in boxing that sometimes I forget about being married. Like me and my girlfriend are like so close. I got her a promise ring and stuff like that, but. It's just, it feels like we're married. It just feels like it, but it's like you said, like you're not married. And my cousins tell me this all the time. They're like, when are you gonna propose, bro? Like, you have a 5-year-old daughter, and your girlfriend. You guys are already old enough. Like, I be forgetting. You really grow up. You really start growing up, and really the only reason is because I've been just locked in boxing so much that we've never really thought about. Like we said we want to get married and stuff, but it's a lot of money and stuff, so we just like, what, first things first, we want to get a house hopefully, and then all the other stuff started setting in. It was just like a little different mindset we had. I don't know why, but it just feels right for some reason. So
yeah, hopefully I didn't mean put pressure on you or anything.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I get it a lot from my aunties all the time too. When are you gonna put a ring on her finger? I'm like, she does. She has a promise ring, but
some people just like to put like that little like, once I get this,
yeah, exactly.
Once I'm able to buy the house, once I'm able to afford the ring,
exactly.
Or whatever it is, and then that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. What? So I'm sorry. What weight were you at? That's super featherweight.
Featherweight. Yeah.
And right now in the division, from what I've been able to see, is the big names are Emmanuel Navarrete, Oshaki Foster, Oscar Valdez. If given the opportunity to fight any of those guys in the division, who would it be?
I would really love to share the ring with Oscar Valdez. Because a Mexican fight with a Mexican fighter, that's a clash. So I feel like I'll have certain enough mindset skill now to go in there and bang with him. Like, I feel like I'll have the smarter advantage and edge and the tank to it. So but really, I love all those fights. I love all those fights. I watch a lot of Navarrete. I love Navarrete's style. That's one of the styles I kind of look up to too. One of the fighters I look up to. So hopefully, if I get the opportunity to share the ring with him, that would be super badass. That's another dream that I want to do. Hopefully, I do end up getting these fights. And you said who Nick Ball was in it too, right? Nick Ball.
I didn't say Nick Ball, but if that's
Nick Ball's in there too. I'd love to share the ring with Nick Ball. He's a little short England dude that comes forward and throws bombs. Yeah. So shout out him. Hopefully he gives me an opportunity because he's around. He'll probably end up seeing this. Cause he's close. So shout out Nick Ball.
If he does, my money's on him. If weight didn't matter, and it just dream fight of the world, whatever you want, you could make it happen. Who would you fight?
To be honest, I feel like I would really want to fight with the best fighter of all time, Julio Cesar Chavez. I feel like I would really love to share the ring and feel one of his body shots, see how hard he really hit. I feel like he'll have probably a slight advantage, but it'll just be a lovely fight I'd love to do for sure. So he could see one of my body shots too.
Yeah. And I don't know. That one, I want to put money on that one.
Yeah,
I don't know who would win that one.
That would have been a hell of a fight for sure.
Do you plan on staying at super feather, or do you plan on like maybe moving up weight class, going down in weight class?
Really, I think I want to fill in good at featherweight. I want to lose the weight good, and really fill in good at 126, and then hopefully from there, if I see I could go down, I'll probably go down another weight class. But if I feel most comfortable at 126.
Okay. Um, for you, because I've asked this from every boxer that I've interviewed.
Yeah.
What is it to you that you want to accomplish in the sport? Is it unifying the belts, being champion of super featherweight, fighting the best, the best names out there, moving up in weight and being a champ there? What is it that you think like really cements a boxer to the history of boxing?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Really?
What is it that you want to do that you think is like this is the
Okay.
top that I can be at?
Okay. So really, what I would love to do is be world champion, get all the become undisputed. Hopefully one day. That's like really the goal to become undisputed, to get all the belts in the division, show the division you're the best, and then go up another weight class and then sweep that division. Being like um, a multi, a multi
Divisional.
Yeah, we have the multi-divisional champ. So hopefully, catching a belt at 126, end up moving up to 130. Catching a belt at 130, if the fights don't show up, go to 135, stuff like that. Yeah. So right now, I'd really love to enjoy and catch a belt at 126, and hopefully within the years come, I'll for sure love to become undisputed. I feel like that's the best, the highest as it could get. Become undisputed and fight the best in the division.
I think it's gonna happen for you. I mean,
Yeah,
seeing your
right
fight
on,
so
bro.
far. But for now, what do you hope to show boxing fans on May 24th?
Okay, May 24th, I expect fireworks for sure because it's been a long camp since last year that I've just been itching to fight, So May 24th, I don't want to miss May 24th for sure. You guys are going to expect nothing but fireworks and, hopefully, thank God we finna come out victorious and hopefully we get the job done early. Hopefully.
All right. Well, Gabriel El Asesino Garcia, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, bro.
Thanks
Nice
for
to meet you.
meeting us here.